just before we dive into the review, you can see a hole on the left there. This is one I'm just about to give back. I'm outside the Apple store. The scratches, very easily. I've got no nails at all, but watch, if I run my nail down it, these scratches aren't going anywhere, just so you know that before you purchase it. And on the inside, it's also peeling away after only 4 or 5 days use. So this is one I'm about to give back, mainly due to the hole that's appeared on the left after only 4 or 5 days, but I'll review the replacement. Okay, now on to the actual review of the case itself after I've just briefly shown you the problems that I had with the first one. This is the other one I got from the Apple store. I did have to look through a case of quite a few, because one problem that a lot of them seem to have, not really a problem, but one issue for me anyway that a lot of them had, is the glue around here was actually all over this plastic part. So if you do go to pick one of these up, I strongly recommend that you open the case and you just take a look through them, because some of them have excess glue sticking out the sides, and when you're paying a premium for a case, you really do want it to be in the best possible condition, I guess, if you're paying £50 for it. Case itself, I'm not going to bother with an unboxing because it's literally just a plastic see-through box. Comes with a few stickers, and that's about it really. There's not much more to say about that. I still don't know why they bother to include stickers with them. I mean, I can't imagine sticking their company logo all over my bag or car or whatever. But anyway, onto the case itself. The markings that you see on this case are going to be different from all the other cases that you'll more than likely see at the Apple store. All of them have different markings, and again, I suggest you open them up and you take a look and go through them and find ones that you're happy with the markings of. Like the other one that I had, the gold trim on the back, you could barely see it, and there was a crack on the spine of the other one going sideways here, which I actually really liked, but I couldn't find any more in the Apple store that looked the same as that one, so I got this one, which was the next best looking one for me. Some of them look a lot more worn than the others. As I showed you, I mean, as you can see, I don't really have long fingernails at all, and if I literally put my if I was to make contact with my nail here and go like this, there would be a permanent mark going down here. This leather is very, very easy to mark up. Now, you do get a card with this which says that it says scratch your case, no problem. It's actually, according to them anyway, it's actually meant to be like that. So the scratches make it more personalised and gives it a more vintage look. The other case I had, which I had to return, I showed you at the beginning of the review, for 4 or 5 days, that one had markings all over it, and I still can't figure out how it got half of those markings, because I was very careful with it. When I put it in a pocket, I always made sure there was no coins or keys in that pocket, but it had markings all over it, so I'm guessing if I keep this for a year, it's going to end up having just an insane amount of markings all over it. But again, the point of that is that it gives it the vintage look. That's the positive. The negative is, of course, as you saw at the beginning, I really hope that it doesn't result in holes appearing over it if you scratch the same point a couple of times, given the price of the thing. Having just said that, this feels pretty deep, and this was one of the markings that came with it, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so as I showed you, the last one had a hole appear here. When I was at the Apple store, I actually opened the case up and I looked at this part here, which my other one, the leather started to peel away. This finish here started to peel away and the plastic started to show through, and there was actually one other case in the Apple store that came already like that. Now again, I know it's meant to look vintage, but when the leather starts to have holes and peel away, and it exposes the plastic backing in here, because this is just basically is so stiff because there's a plastic backing in here which forms part of the ring here. When that plastic backing starts to show, I think it kind of makes it look a bit cheap and tacky. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so as far as the case itself goes, you got 3 pockets here, and you have a pocket here. I usually keep my driving license in here. You have a pocket here as well. I do have a touch credit card, which I actually tried paying for parking by just holding this up to the credit card machine, and it does, it's not too thick to stop that touch payments from happening. So if you have a touch payment card, you can always put it up here and scan with that. It's not a problem. Other than that, it has a little side compartment here. I've only got 1 receipt in there. If you put too many notes, I find that it makes the case a bit too bulky. The phone does sit very flush in here. It does feel very secure. It's not going to it's not going to drop out. And the one thing I will say again is this one, it's a much tighter fit around the phone than the last one I had, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But the one complaint I read about this on the Apple Store's website is a lot of people said that when they actually took their phone out, there were scratches on the side of their phone. So I'm just going to pop this out and see if this one does the same. So as you can see, I'm happy to say from the two that I've had no scratches on my iPhone 5 because of it. So I don't know if that's just the minority, because I tried it in a couple of cases in the Apple Store and none of them had an issue either. Yeah, so this plastic backing here is what makes it rigid and keeps this part from folding. It's a one piece of plastic that goes all the way through. The last one had glue stains all over the side. This one's got some here as well. So this is really not that bad, not much to complain about. But one of them I did see from the case I opened at the Apple Store, and I opened pretty much all of them, is there was a big blob of glue coming down here. So again, strongly recommend you open them up at the Apple Store. You don't need to ruin the box or anything. You can literally just slide it out from the bottom of the box, open them up and take a look, and get one that's right for you. Okay, let's go ahead and pop this phone back in. Okay. What else to say about this case? In terms of positives, I absolutely love the look of the case. I mean, I usually was the person that was making fun of people who paid £20 for cases at the Apple Store when you could get them for £4 or £5 on Amazon. But I absolutely love the look of this case, and I felt it gave good protection to the phone itself, and it allowed me to put away my card holder and put them all in here, which is pretty good. On one hand, it may not be the smartest thing, because if someone was going to snatch your wallet at the train station, say before when you go to top up your train payment card, now they can get your phone at the same time, so yay for them, I guess. Okay, so with the case itself, you have the company logo right at the bottom. On the side it says BookBook. I think they could have come up with something a bit more creative. Just left it blank. And then it says volume 5, I assume it's because it's the iPhone 5. On the front, as I said before, all the markings are going to be individual. This has a very distinctive leathery smell to it. It is genuine handmade leather. You have the gold trim going down both sides. Again, some of them you can barely see the gold trim. Just go through them in the Apple Store. This doesn't look 100% flat, which I'm hoping that will straighten out over time. When you first put your cards in, it is pretty stiff because of the leather, and it's not the easiest thing to get your cards out, but that's because it's pretty new, so that's to be expected. What else? I mean, if I was going to go and complain about this, the complaints I would have is, whilst I appreciate that it scratches way, way too easily, and within the last one I had, even within 4 or 5 days, was starting to look like, again, I know it's the vintage look, it's how it's meant to look, but the only reason I think that it may turn out to be negative is if you scratch on the same spot too many times. I mean, this little scratch here, you can actually feel it's actually indented in, so I hope the white underlayer doesn't start showing out through. But again, that could be a positive or a negative depending on if you want it to look like how you bought it, or if you want it to look much more run down than what you actually bought. In terms of the design, as I said, I really like the design. They've gone through a lot of trouble to get this to look really nice. Over here, as you can see, there's a leather finish, which I don't quite understand. If it's meant to be a book, why would it be leather on both sides? Because then that would be a book that you could never open if it was bound on both sides. Then again, if they had pages coloured onto here, then it would have to look really, really good. But if they'd done that, I thought that would be a bit more preferable. The only other negative is going to be the fact that I've had to return one, and the gluing around this part here. This actually did have a tab here, which I had to peel off. The finish is not 110% flush. You can actually see through the side just about there. Again, it's really nothing major. I'm just picking out anything I possibly can that people might be interested in knowing. It would have been nice if was flush like that, but unfortunately you can just about make out the mark, the silver backing above it there, so if that would have finished just a tiny bit further up. Again, completely nitpicking, I know, but I'm just trying to think of stuff that people would possibly want to know. Let me see, other than that, it doesn't sit closed. It would have been nice to perhaps have a strap that you could have done, that you could have had on it, but as you can see, if I just lay the camera flat, it doesn't actually sit close when you put it down. Might be because I got the cards in there. Even in the last one, even when I took the cards out, it never sat flush. It never sat flush, so I had to usually put it down like this when I put it on the table. Otherwise, it doesn't sit too flush. The only other complaint is going to be getting used to gaming and texting with this thing. I'll set the camera up and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, sorry about the camera not being completely on. I can't find my tripod for the life of me. Okay, this is what I meant. I'm used to texting with both hands, but this part of the leather here kind of gets in the way, so I've had to, and I can't put this back in text, because if I do that, then this just flips back out. This part just flips back out if you try to just put it back in text. So I've had to kind of adjust. I pull this back here, use this finger to hold it like that, use my index finger there, and then text away. Again, it's something that you can get used to, but when I first got it, I thought, damn it, am I going to have to just text one-handed from now on? Just take me much longer to do. Again, you can text like this, which isn't a problem, but again, the top part, if you tilt it forward, if you tilt it actually perfectly straight forward, the top part will fold down. So again, if you're playing games and you want to put it in widescreen, you're going to have to fold this back here, and you're going to have to use 2 fingers here and 2 fingers here to actually hold this in position. Place your fingers on top here so it doesn't flip over, and learn to play games like that, which I found a bit annoying, and it made me consider giving it back at first, because I liked my old case was a £3 bench case that I got from Amazon, just a sock. This slides in and out. Even had the advantage that every time I took it out, it was microfiber on the inside, so the screen was pristine clean, which you don't get with this. But yeah, I mean, if you try using it normally, this is bound to flip over on top, so you have to compromise, figure out some good positions for your fingers to hold this back. You could also use your pinkies to hold that part down when you're playing games, but again, it is uncomfortable if you game for a period of time on this. And again, if you're used to texting with both hands, you do have to pin this part back and actually pin it back with your fingers, otherwise it's just going to keep flapping out on top. Not the end of the world, but something to definitely consider. As far as I know, in the UK, these are only available from the Apple Store, so my advice in the end is going to be, it's a very, very nice case. It's going to be one of those ones where you're paying for the looks and there's some compromises to be made. If you decide to get one, pop down to the Apple Store and make sure that you take one out, mess about with it. The staff are more than happy to let you mess about with it. Just make sure you ask them first, otherwise they may find it a bit rude that you just start opening stuff up. Mess about with it, see what you think. But yeah, I'm keeping this for now, and we'll see how it goes in terms of this one tearing up like the last one did. Thank you for watching.